Is this the YouTube live stream? Yes. Meeting is
I guess so. I can't see too much on my end.
yeah, it is.
Okay, wonderful. I pushed go live. I'm not sure if it did.
It says meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. Yeah.
Yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another lovely episode of TOP, your one-stop shop of all things encouraging, inspiring, motivating, and educational. Got your girls, Jory O'Neill, Nicole Salter, here live on the YouTube. How you living? How you doing? How you feeling? What's going on, Nicole? How you doing? Good.
I'm good today. Today was a very good day. Got a lot of stuff done. I just bought a new journal from my cousin who made it. It's not a journal, it's more like a scheduler, I guess. Calendar type thing.
Okay.
You write all of your stuff down that you gotta, keep on schedule. It's great. I love it. It has quotes, it has vibrant colors, it has space for me to doodle, whether I want to write something important or just draw a flower in the corner. There's just so much space in there for me to write. And so I'm enjoying this new journey of me making sure I keep myself organized because that is the title for this chapter. Organization, staying organized. That's where we are right now in life.
I love that organization. So,
Yeah.
speaking of organization, we're gonna tackle something tonight that we hope is gonna bless and help many of you listening and watching right now. We're actually going to go through our own personal practices in terms of how do we make time for what matters most. Now, Nicole and I are both moms. We're both wives, very active in our community and our churches. We are parents collectively to six kids, my four, her two. And so there's a lot to do. There's
There
a
is
lot of things that need to be done,
always,
a lot of things on our plate.
yes.
And my intention today is really just to share what's been working for us, and then hopefully that'll be something that you can add to your arsenal, right? How to make the most for what we have, and how do we make that time for the things that matter most. So Nicole's going to start us off. We have 10 things, and hopefully we can get through all 10 in the next 23 minutes. And if we can't, then we'll come back for a part two for you all. But Nicole, kick us off. What is the first thing that people can do to make time for what matters most?
The first thing people can do to make time for what matters most is prioritize your tasks, right? And I know sometimes that seems like it's just impossible to do, but something that I like to do is see which tasks can be done on their own. So like I have a washing machine. I know the washing machine can wash clothes on their own. Maybe I don't want to do a quick cycle today, so we go on a regular cycle, which is probably about 50 minutes, right? So now I have a timer to keep me on schedule. And so I feel like putting the clothes in the washing machine and then putting dishes in the dishwasher, if that's what I have to do, I get an hour to focus on maybe doing my devotion or answering my emails or doing homework with my children, right? Whichever one I feel is most important that needs most of my attention, I try and get the other ones to do what they do on their own while I'm focusing on this one. So, and
I
that is
like
a
that.
big thing in our house.
I like that. So, if y'all haven't realized or learned, if this is your first time linking up with us, Nicole is the master of multitasking. And so we have this thing where we go back and forth discussing which is the most beneficial, singular focus or multitasking. And so what what usually ends up happening for me is I'll do something similar to what Nicole just said. And again, this is it's a case by case type thing. So what works for us, what works for her, what works for me, might not work for you. So as one of my coaches used to say, take the chicken and leave the bone. So take what's preferable for you, right? And then whatever you don't need, leave it behind.
Yep.
For me, making time for the things that matter most usually involves writing a list of my priorities. And then after I write all the things that need to get done, then I prioritize them by like number. And then the next round, I prioritize them by time. And so some things super important, but they're gonna take like 3 hours versus this other thing that may only take like 5 minutes, like loading the dishwasher or, pushing a button on the washing machine. But then I have to think about, again, in terms of priority, what's gonna be the most beneficial thing for me to use my time on right now? Is it creating a course that will then end up blessing other people, bringing in revenue, or is it folding this basket of clothes? So, in looking at it, they might take around the same amount of time. It might take me 40 minutes to make the course, 40 minutes to fold the clothes. But then it's like, what's going to give me the best ROI, right? Return on
Mhm.
investment of my time. And so, I think making sure that we have a time allotted to each of the tasks is super helpful. And then figuring out how do we make time for the things that matter most, because oftentimes our time is used and spent on things that honestly don't serve us. Like at the end of the day, it's like, wait, I spent 4 hours doing what now? What? But that thing, that business that we needed to get advice or consulting on, or that client who we needed to return phone call back to, or that marketing message that we needed to send, or that web page that we needed to update, like those things, the things that maybe don't light you up, you're not very excited to do. Those are the things that get put to the bottom of the list. And oftentimes, those are the things that are going to move the needle the most. Let's say we got 10. So we just got through the first one.
Me
Nicole,
too.
go ahead.
I know. I will say that for me, I definitely like to multitask. Like if I know that I need to spend time with my kids, they want to watch a movie, and I have to maybe work on a journal. Well, I'm doing all three at the same time. The movie is on while the kids and I are in the same room, right? Now, my quality time is different from y'all's quality time. My quality time doesn't mean I got to be hugged up on my kids all the time. My quality time is just us being in the same room. And whenever I feel like you say something and I need to chime in, hey, that's us spending time together. We're here. I can chime into your conversation. We can talk while I'm trying to maybe move some pictures around or something, right? That don't need much of me reading and paying attention to. I'm just moving it. I could have a conversation while I'm moving some pictures around, right? So I that's how I like to multitask. If I know I gotta fold clothes, believe me, I'm folding them in front of the TV while the kids are watching something that I can watch. So now I'm folding clothes, I'm watching a movie, and I'm spending time with my kids. So that is definitely my idea of multitasking, right? Um, break it down. Break it down is such an important thing because a lot of times when we make our list, like Jory said, and we see all of the things that we have to do, we look at it and it's like, I ain't doing this today. And you close the book and you put it to the side and you turn into a couch potato, right? But to avoid that, you have to figure out what your strategy is. Maybe your strategy is the checkbox strategy where you have to check things off. Everything that takes 5 minutes, guess what? Check them off. Go do them, check them off. All right, 20 minutes later, 5 things are done. Right? So now what takes 10 minutes? All right, we got these 3 things that take 10 minutes. Here we go. 30 minutes later, in an hour, you did 8 things. Right? You checked 8 things off your box. There we go. If that is the method for you, it is great. Break everything down into smaller, more manageable tasks so that you can check them off and move on.
I love that.
I think.
So and again, in doing the breaking down of tasks, it's also like, so everything she shares, I'm gonna add an extra step because I like the minutia. Like I'm a very tactile person. You'll get to learn that whenever I come here, I'm always gonna give practical, something you can do right now. Like after you listen to this, like go do that. One
Right.
of the things that I absolutely love doing is creating like this column. So I have the task, I have how much time, I have how high on the priority list. And then I have these two other categories. One is, does this thing bring me joy? Does it light me up? I am in a space and a season in my life where I'm like, if it don't bring me joy,
I'm not doing
nah.
it.
I'm really not like, I'm like, I'm so we gonna task rabbit this joint out to somebody else because I'm not doing it. But that's the season that I'm in right now, right? And the last one is, do I have the resources? Right? Like when I say do I have the resources, like, do I have the mental bandwidth? Do I
Mm.
have the energy level? And if I don't want to do it, if it really doesn't bring me joy, can I delegate this to another human in my house? There's a lot of them. Do I need to be the one to do this? Like seriously, like so we used to have a cleaning lady, and she would come here every other week, and she would clean kids' room, living room, kitchen, bathrooms, yada yada, all the things. And I started calculating like how much we was paying for this cleaning lady, and I was like, you know what? I think I think we can allocate these funds somewhere else. Let's allocate these funds somewhere else. And we're gonna take a portion of those funds and we're gonna start paying the freeloaders who live here. I'm sorry, my children. We gonna start paying them to take care of these responsibilities. Because now here we go. They are learning responsibility. They're learning to take care and quality care of their own possessions and things. They are getting their own money so they can stop asking me for stuff. You got field trips? You got your allowance last week. You better save up. If you know that field trip in 4 weeks is $12, you beg, borrow, do what you need to do. I'm not paying for it. You have a job, you have chores, you have allowance. We're done. Bye bye. See you later. Um, but I outsourced, I delegated all the things that she was doing to the
Yep.
other humans who lived here. So
Hmm.
now my load is a little lighter because I still got to do the deep cleaning. Ain't nobody gonna deep clean like a mama deep clean. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna
Right.
happen. Maybe
Right.
out there, some amazing, magnificent men, but they don't live here. So the deep cleaning, that's on me. The mopping and stuff, it's on me. But everything else, my daughters, my son, they all sweep. They all clean off the tables, clean the living room, clean their bedrooms, bathroom. Like they got everything else. But the deep cleaning, we got to do that. So I'm saying that to say, if you find yourself procrastinating with a lot of things, you might want to look at those last two columns and say, have I been putting this off because it doesn't bring me joy?
Right.
Have I been putting this off because I don't have the energy when I come home to do this? I don't have the bandwidth to be thinking about this at this time.
Hmm.
All right,
Right.
if that's the case, then again, what resources do you need? Do you have more energy in the morning? Is this an activity you should shift from maybe after you get out of work to before you go to work? Right? Like just making it make sense so that you are still using the 24 hours. Everybody got the same number of hours. You're
Hmm.
using them to the best of your ability and you're using them for the things that are really gonna have a lasting impression. Gonna be some sort of investment in what happens in the future. All right. So we had two.
That
Nicole.
leads us to setting a clear goal, right? If you know this is something that brings you joy, you're going to be excited. What's your beginning? What's your middle? What's your end? Set your goal of what you want to have done and when you want to have it done, right? Figure out what motivates you. Figure out what it is that you need to get this accomplished. And that that last column of what brings me joy is an important one because if it's not something you like to do, like I do not like cleaning up the living room that we have two living rooms, the upstairs living room and the downstairs living room. Downstairs, I always keep clean. Upstairs is another story because that's where my children's crap is, right? And it's Legos. It's not really, it's crap to me. It's not crap to them, it's crap to me. But that's where my son's thousands of Legos are, right? And so it's very hard to keep that section clean. And I mean, days, weeks, I'll be lying to you if I didn't say months go by where I look at it and I walk away. Or I walk by like this because I just don't want to see it because I don't have the energy to bend down and pick up Legos that are smaller than my nails. I don't have the energy to do it. And so that is one of the things where, yes, I do try and give it to them to do, but they don't clean like mommy does. And so mommy ends up having to go do some of it anyway, but I'd rather do some of it than all of it, right? And so setting those clear goals says, okay, I can pick up the big dinosaurs, I can pick up the tables, I can pick up the covers and fold them and put them back in the basket. You pick up all of the tiny pieces of Legos that look like headlights on your cars. You pick up all of the Lego men. You pick up all of the pieces that you needed to build a building or build a car or the wheels and the steering wheels. Or, oh my gosh, my son is into Avengers. So now it's all about weapons. Everything has a weapon. You pick up all of them little weapons because I'm going to vacuum them and I'm not going to say sorry. So that is where we come in when we set clear goals, right? This is my job. My job is to pick up all of the big ones and make sure that this stays tidy. What is your job? The end goal is for this to be finished within 30 minutes.
Nice.
That is our clear goal.
Nice. We did something for the first time this year, and we did family vision uh like planning session where
Okay.
we looked at like instead of doing like a vision board, we ended up making our own individual vision boards. But we did a vision planning with the kids. And so we went through what do they want to see for the household? What do they want to see for the family? What do they want to see financially? What do they want to see for creativity? My kids are super creative. I think they get it from their daddy. So we went through all this list of things, and some of the things they were like, "Oh, we want a pool in the backyard." I'm like, "All right." So I pulled out bills, and I was like, "Here's the current water bill without a pool. Here's the current electricity bill without a pool." They looked at it. They was like, "What? Why is it so high?" Because you wanted to put on Christmas tree lights from November to January. That's why it's
You
so
let
high.
them know.
They're like, "Oh, well, how come there's so much water?" Because you and your brother like to play in the shower. Right. And so them seeing like, okay, well, that means that both of these numbers are going to go higher. So what
Mm-hmm.
do we need to do now? And so now they're like, okay, we got to make sure we turn off all the lights. We got to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that we take quick showers. We got to make sure that like we don't leave the water running. We brushing the teeth. We got so now they're being more conscious about like water because they have a goal. They're like, we want the pool. And
Right.
so
I like that.
they're saving their little monies. They're like, well, if we get a pool, we gotta have pool toys. Buy pool toys. So now they're saving their little money so they can get little floaty devices,
Yeah.
little balls and whatnot. But I'm
Uh-huh.
like, that they have a goal.
Right.
This is what they want. And so now they're working toward that goal and helping them see like this is a family. Like your contribution to the family is
Mm-hmm.
keeping the electricity bill down. Your contribution to the family is keeping the water bill down. Your contribution to the family is cleaning up after yourself. Like you
That's
have
right.
no maids. I never like I said I do to Jesus and to Ron. I never said I do to being a maid. I never said that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like I didn't agree to that. And I
Right.
think sometimes we put as women, I'll say as women, we put these tasks on ourselves that no one ever gave us. And then we judge ourselves based off of these unspoken expectations that nobody has on us. Like
All the
if you actually ask someone like, "Hey, do you expect me to do everything?" They're like, "No, I don't expect you to do everything. That's crazy." Okay, I might be crazy, but unless you help,
you
then
expect me to do it.
um,
Yes.
um.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having those conversations up front, like I think that was one of the few of many things. I would say probably the best thing that Ron and I did was get like counseling before marriage, after marriage, during marriage, like just all the help we could get. We were like, yes, please help us. Yes, please. Um, was decide on like what we were going to have the other person do in terms of our expectations of one another. And one of his expectations, he was like, I expect you to work. I was like, whoa, what is that? What is that? Hold on, sir. He's like, no, no, no. I mean, like I'm gonna work too, but like I don't. You guys don't stay home. Like go work. Go make some money. And so I was like, I bet. So in this season right now, I'm transitioning out of the classroom. He he comes to my office a lot more now. He's like, so how's work? Oh, I'm like, it's good. Like, met with my client today. He'll peek in my office when I'm meeting the client. Like, okay, all right, she working good. More
Uh,
money. Okay, that's good. I'm like, he's like, oh, who's on the calendar for this week? What you you got some prospects? Like, but we had expectations of each other, and I was like, I'm not your mama. He's like, what do you mean? I'm not your mama. Like, my job is not to keep you in check, to da 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 da. Like, that's not. I said we're equals. I'm not your mother. I'm your wife.
yeah,
I'm your friend. I'm your partner. I'm your teammate. Like
right.
co-collaborator, co-conspirator, whatever we doing, we co.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm not your mama. So he washes the clothes. He cooks. He cleans. Again, we were raised different with different standards and different situations, so our level of all the things is a little different, but he's willing and open to doing it and trying it and putting his best foot forward. So I think even that, when you think of like vision casting, like what
Hmm.
you want for your future,
Hmm.
like part of those goals, I love that you said like you have to break them down and be super granular and actionable and like step by step. Like, all right, you pick up this, you pick up that. I think oftentimes we have these goals, and goals without a clear roadmap is just a wish.
It is.
Like if you don't have action steps to get that, I was talking to a coworker today, and she's gonna hear this later. She just subscribed to the podcast. Shout out to Karen. Um, she was like, I've always wanted to start a business. I said, oh, it's what's stopping you? And got quiet.
I was just about to say.
She's like, oh, I don't know how. I was like, that's not true. She's like, you're right. I do know how. She's like, but I don't know what I would. I was like, is that true? She's like, no, it's not. I'm like, so like,
What is
often so what's true for her is that she wants to continue a business that her mom started. Her mom's been
it?
working in this business for a long time. Her mom's retiring, and she's like, "But I see all the gaps. I see all the ways that this business can be super profitable." I'm like, "Okay, well, if your mother doesn't want to employ those tactics, you can open up a business. You can ask her to hand her clientele over to you. Like you already have a portfolio of clients,
Hmm.
just have her hand them over to you. Like
Right.
renegotiate some terms and stuff, get some more clients, ask them for referrals. I gave her a whole like business building like blueprint.
Right.
In a little 10 minutes we were talking. And so she left. She's like, I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna open up LLC next week. I said, before you do that, I would encourage you to talk to a lawyer and to an accountant. Like do those two things first. Like I got legal advice from LegalZoom. Opened up the business about 4 years ago. LegalZoom. I don't even, do they still do that? I don't even know.
They do.
Um, okay, cool. I went talk to LegalZoom, and we pay. I think we pay we grandfathered in. We pay a really crazy amount each month, for them to review our contracts, to look at our service plans, make sure that our articles of incorporation are still good and standing well. And I'm like that. That was probably one of the best things that anybody ever told me. And we have an accountant. We have a particular accountant for our business.
Hmm.
And so those two things, if you are thinking about doing a business, with the business plan and excited about your website, excited about opening up a business account at the bank, and so great, so great, so great. Don't forget to talk to like professionals so that they can advise you. And if you're like, I don't have money for that, I don't have no resources, I don't know who, you can go to Score. They are not promoting this podcast. They should be. But score.org. They have one in every state. I actually did a workshop for the one in Orlando, Florida, last month. So that was dope. Uh, Shout
How do you
out to Bo Harvey. Shout out to Bo Harvey and Score Orlando. Um,
how do you spell score?
SCORE, score, like score, Um, but they have a great resource. We were mentored by a woman in her 80s. She had been in the entertainment industry, actress, dancer, theater owner, executive, still taking dance classes, still going on dates. The woman was fiery, fiery. And they offer free mentoring to people starting their businesses. So there's no reason for you not to start a business if that's something that you really want to do. There are resources out there and they are free. So, but you have to have a goal. Like what type of revenue do you want to see? Do you want to replace your full-time income? Do you want to just have enough to provide for the type of lifestyle that you desire to lead? So looking at all those angles, but yeah, goals, super important. But more important than that, I think, are the steps that you'll need to take to get from where you are to that goal, right? So
Yep.
we'll probably only get through five today.
Yeah, because we up to
Okay.
number 4 right now, and that is eliminate distractions. Oh, this is a doozy because it seems like every time I get on the podcast, I can just sense somebody coming. My door is right here. I can just sense somebody coming. So if you see this shoulder switch and like move, that's me telling somebody shoo. Shoo, go away. That is what is happening today, right? Like every time the podcast come on, somebody is coming this way, somebody is calling me, somebody is texting me, so all the time. Never fails. And if you do not know how to eliminate distractions, you won't get anything done. And this is why I like to tackle the things that can handle themselves while I focus on something that needs my attention. Because the things that can handle themselves, if I don't do them, they're always on my mind. And so I'm not focused on what I need to be focused on anyway. So if I know that my children want to spend time with me, right? And I've been looking at the computer and writing contracts all day and talking to investors or talking to contractors, which is my life right now, I start to feel guilty. Like I've been on the phone with all of these people for 5, 6, 7 hours, and I haven't seen my kids all day. All right. Now, I can't sit down and write up another contract dealing with numbers and decimals, right? While this is all in my head. Because now I got the guilty mom and I'm thinking of every single thing that I've ever done wrong. Like I remember back 10 years ago when I didn't change Christopher's diaper as soon as I should have, and his little booty was red, and all of that guilt just starts coming back, right? Does it matter? No. But at that point in time, when I'm having a guilt fest because I've been doing work and I haven't been spending time with my kids, spending time with my kids is the only thing that's on my head, that's in my mind. So I have to figure out, and again, these are the things that work best for me. Jory has the things that work best for her. You have to figure out what works best for you. This is why I like to be in the room with them, either while they're building their Legos or if Naomi is doing her nails or playing with her teddy bear while we're watching a movie. And I can still have my computer and move something around. So I won't read anything. I won't write a contract because those take a lot of my attention, right? But something that doesn't take a lot of my attention, I can do those things while in the same room as them. So eliminating distractions is a big thing. It could be physical distractions, it could be mental distractions, which is what I deal with a lot. Emotional distractions. Oh, that's another biggie. That's another biggie. If it's a day where I'm fighting with Jamel, very little is going to get done. Because I'm trying to figure out how did we get here? How did we start arguing? Where did we go wrong? How do we fix it? Do you want to fix it? I want to fix it. I don't like feeling like this. Who's going to fix it first? Mind you, it's only been 5 minutes. And all of these thoughts are in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely have to make sure that you are doing something to eliminate distractions. Something that I like to do is when I know I'm distracted or when there's a task that I don't feel like doing, like cleaning my closet, every time I walk past that particular space, I do at least one thing. Either I pick up all of my sweaters or I pick up all of the towels. I don't want to do it. So I don't overexert myself. It's like this sock was in the way. I was gonna step on it. So I'm gonna pick it up and move it out my way. It just so happens that I'm gonna throw it into the pile it's supposed to be in. Right? But if you walk through that space X amount of times, that's X amount of items that you picked up and you put them where they need to be. So now that you have the energy to do something, it's like, oh, it's already done.
I like that. So somebody said, how do you eat an elephant?
Sometimes one bite at a time.
All the time, one bite at a time. That's the only way to eat an elephant. And so I like that idea of one bite at a time. In terms of
Yeah.
distractions, um, I wake up most mornings and I sit and I have meditative time with God. I say my affirmations. I sit in silence, sit in solitude. I sit in the dark. And I visualize what my day's gonna look like, visualize what my future's gonna look like. Um, Pray for my family, pray for my business, pray for friends, loved ones, and then I start ideating, like, what is the thing that I should do first today, or what is the thing that I should focus on today, and what is the, and usually when I do that and I pray, I say, okay, God, whatever it is that you see like are gaps and what I got going on, like let morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for in you do I put my hope. That's Psalm 143. That is something that I pray very often. But one of the things it's super cool is that when I do that, God literally gives me a vision of areas that I should focus on or things that I should go, even people I should call. Like last week, Friday, I was sitting in meditation and God told me to call like a friend from college from like 23 years ago. And I was like, that's random. That's super random. I was like, I don't even know this lady number. So I was like, all right, went on the book, messaged her, was like, hey, God told me to call you. I don't know. God told me to call you. That's it. And she hit me back. We talked, and she gave me some good advice, some good input, an aspect and a perspective that I didn't even know that I needed to help me make a decision. And so I'm like, well, if I have confusion, if I have lack of clarity, like that's the space where I get it. But for me, the distractions are all the shoulda, woulda, couldas, all the like it's mental distractions. It's not really physical so much. I'm pretty very particular, right? So my kids know my schedule. And there's a certain time where like there's a block where like you can't bother mommy. And so if it's any time around that block, like they're like, "Oh, is it time yet?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Okay, okay, okay. So can you do this? Can we do this? Did you da 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 da?" I'm like, "Bet." And then afterwards, so my daughter wanted to make bracelets. Um, and she asked me like as I'm leaving the door to go to work, and I'm like, "Come on, your time management. Let's do better." Well, you can't ask me when I'm leaving out the door. I was like, "But I would love to play with you once we get back home after you take care of your responsibilities. So you eat dinner, take a shower, you finish your homework. We got it." So she ate dinner, took a shower, finished the homework. She's like, all right, mommy. So she comes and she's like, all right, let's do some bracelets. She brings all the stuff, all the crafts. And then one of her siblings is like, come on, we're gonna play. And she's like, oh, um, I'm really thinking, mom, I'm not gonna have time to play with my siblings. So like, I'm like, hold on. You scheduled this date with me. And now you piecing out. And so, long story short, I ended up making bracelets by myself. Um, but we did spend some time with each other, and I did learn that whatever contraption I done bought this girl for Christmas, it's not for kids her age. It's too complicated, very I was like, I don't understand these instructions. But we figured it out. It was good. It was a good bonding moment. Like progressive struggle. That's what I call it. But the distractions, I try to eliminate them at the front end by creating a really ironclad schedule. Now, things happen, things gonna happen, life be lifing,
Yep.
but I really try to stick to my schedule. Like I really, really try real, real hard to stick to the schedule. Um, and that helps for me to eliminate a lot of the distractors that I have. And I schedule everything. Like I schedule time to do the podcast. I schedule time to edit the podcast. I schedule time to post the podcast. I schedule time to create social media content to market the podcast. Like everything has a schedule. I
Right.
schedule. We schedule date night. We schedule everything. Like everything needs to be. If it's not on the schedule, it's not gonna happen. It's really not. So as we land this plane, go ahead and bless them with number five, Nicole.
Number five, use a timer. Now, I know for some people this sounds real childlike. And it sounds like we are still in elementary school, but it is so beneficial. Like for me, my timer is the washing machine, or my timer is the microwave, like, or my timer's the air fryer. They if I know that I need a short break where I want to eat, right? And I got to go and check an email. I got 2 minutes to go and check and see what you said. Put my food in the microwave, go and check for 2 minutes, come back and eat a little something, right? Or if I know something is going to take 8 minutes in the air fryer, now I have time to reply. I can reply to you now. I got a whole 8 minutes, right? Put the food in the air fryer. Let the air fryer do what it do. I'm gonna email you real quick and I'll hear it. Because everything in my house makes noise. It drives my husband crazy. But everything makes noise when it goes off. The air fryer dings, the microwave dings, the oven dings when it gets to its set temperature, right? I can put a timer on that as well. The fridge dings if the door is open for too long, like everything dings in our house. And so that's my way of setting timers. If I
Mm,
know that I need to fit this in somewhere and I only have this amount of time, all right, here's how I'm gonna set my timer, right? I don't have an internal clock. I am not that great. I looked outside and I thought it was 9 p.m. It was only 6. I was like, this is ridiculous. Why is it so dark? Right? So I do not have an internal clock. Not at all, except for when I wake up in the morning. But setting a timer is very important at trying to make sure you get things done. And if you have to fit in a small task here and there, it's important. In my life, I am not as great as Jory. Jory is phenomenal. I am not a scheduler, which is why the topic of this year is going to be called organization.
organization.
I am trying to get there as much as my job and my family will let me. But it's been a struggle. Even before children, it was a struggle because before children, I really had no reason for organization, or maybe I did. I just didn't seek it because I was like, I'm free. I don't want to be organized. And now that I have children, I'm like, I need to be more organized. So so this year I'm definitely working on that and using all of the tools that I have necessary to do it. And there's no one way to get it right. You're
Absolutely
going to
not.
try 5, 10, 50, maybe 100 times before you figure out that this is how it works. And then guess what? Your children are going to get to another decade and you're going to be like, that don't work no more. So you're going to have to figure it out all again. So have some grace and figure out which timers work best for you. A microwave timer might not work. You might need a timer on your watch or a timer on your phone or a timer that you set on, I don't want to say her name, computer.
Yep. Don't say
That's
it.
that's
Don't
what
say
we'll
it.
call her.
Don't say it.
So setting a timer can be very beneficial because it will give you just enough time to get that one major thing done or those little dones. Those little thing done. It also gives you that motivation, right? I said to my children, before you play on the phone with your friends today, upstairs need to be clean. And oh, what we gotta clean? And I said, the 5 minutes you just spent whining, you could have been halfway done. And so I looked at computer and I said, hey, computer, put on a timer for 30 minutes. And they ran upstairs, and all of a sudden they got this burst of energy to clean. And then on top of that, the deal was whoever cleans the fastest gets to read with mommy for 30 minutes at the end of the night. And so that gave them even more energy, right? So giving yourself those goals, giving yourself that time restraint, putting a reward on the end that will make you happy, and that might be somewhere further down. We'll get to that next week. Those are things that you can use to make sure that you keep yourself goal oriented, you keep yourself completing those tasks. Using that timer is something that is very important.
So to close out for this evening, I'm old school. I use my watch, I use my phone, I use regular timers in the house, regular timers at the job. Um and I make it a game. I like challenges, I like competition, and so it's me against the clock. Who gonna win? Me versus the clock.
That's right.
And it's usually the tasks that I really don't want to do. Again, that category of the things that don't light me up, those are the things I need timers for. Or things that like light me up way too much and I can spend all day doing them and nothing else is gonna get done. I need timers for those too. So it's like really the extremes for me. The things
Hmm.
that I don't want to do ever at all, and then the things that like I just want to
I
do all
love to
day.
do and don't want
That's
to
it.
stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the timers, absolutely, they help a lot. They help to keep me focused. Um, and they're so it's called Pomodoro method, where you set a timer, and it's some people say 20, some people say 25, some people say 30, depending on which book or which self-help guru you're listening to. But basically, between the range of 20 to 30 minutes, you set a timer and you do the task. And more than likely, once you get in a groove, once the timer goes off, you still rocking. Because you're like, well, I'm so close to finishing. I might as well just finish. I might as well take this other
Right.
5 minutes and just get it done. It don't make sense to leave here and it's not done. Um, that is how I decluttered my house. I started one room at a time and I would put 30 minutes and we would just every day 30 minutes I would just hit a new space 30 minutes, just a time of 30 minutes, hit a new space. Kids room, basement, bathroom. I threw out so much old expired stuff from the bathroom.
That's
Medicine cabinets, guest room, bedroom, like just decluttering and just getting stuff done. And that was my goal for the month of December. So I wanted to come into a new year, new space, at least feeling new. So you put new spot. We in a new spot, you know what I'm saying? So old equipment, but it's in a new place. So it's kind of like new because I moved it.
that's
Um,
right.
but
On
sometimes
purpose.
that'll do it too. So listen, people. Nicole's gonna run through those five real quick, and then we gonna be out like Girl Scouts because it's 8:47, and we want to make sure that you get an opportunity to sit down and figure out which one of these you're going to attempt first. Which one
Yep.
of these five are you going to say, hey, hey,
This is what I'm going to do. Right. So, number one, prioritize your tasks. Number two, break it down. Number three, set a clear goal. Number four, eliminate distractions. And number five, use a timer. All of them are as equally important as the other. When you use them together, they work great. When you start doing them one at a time, it just pushes you closer to you fulfilling your goal. And that's what you have to realize. You have to keep it on the top of your mind. Always think about what your end goal is and work your way up and figure out how you're going to get there by doing little things so that you can make it happen.
I love that. So, once again, these are the top five of the top 10 that we're going to share with you on how to make time for the things that matter most. Thanks for rocking out with us. Nicole Salter, Jory O'Neill, 30 Minutes of Power, encouraging you to be a beautiful and wonderful person using your power to empower others.